The Code of the Sith. Although it may sound straightforward, it has often been misinterpreted, misunderstood for thousands of years. The code was created at the very beginning of the Order, when the term Sith was no longer just describing a species, but those who believed themselves to be higher beings, those that joined with the dark side. Traditionally, codes are associated with the Jedi, who had a great number of rules for their order, and believed that they required mantras to remind themselves of their core tenets. The Sith Code, however, is less about keeping its members in line, as it is about laying bare a path towards mastery. This unifying oath has been taught to every one of their members for thousands of years, regardless of each era's deeper ideologies. But what does it all actually mean? Why do they believe that peace is a lie? What chains are they trying to break from where the Force will free them? Well, Acolytes, welcome back to the archives. In today's Holocron, we are going to be journeying into the very roots of the Sith ideology, breaking down and analyzing each line of their code, and perhaps in this process we will better understand what drives the Sith forward, and why they've held true to these words since their very inception. Before we begin, we have had a terrible vision in the Force. Many who use our archives have not yet subscribed yet, so if you've been enjoying our expansion on the Star Wars galaxy, and the Legends, and EU, reach out and crush that subscribe button. It is your destiny. But speaking of their inception, the best place to look about what the code actually means is in the beginning. The Code of the Sith in their language is the Kotsis Ajak. This was written by Sorza Sin, one of the original 12 Dark Jedi who founded the first Sith Empire. Sorza Sin developed its words after deeply studying the ways of the purebloods on Korriban. She noted that the purebloods take what they can, kill what they don't need, and use everything to its fullest. They are ruled by the fittest of their people, and are a model of what the dark side is capable of. The 12 Dark Jedi exiles were once Jedi themselves, and they knew the Jedi Code extremely well. But Sorza Sin writes that they are fully aware of its shortcomings. She believed that if they were to establish a new order on their own, that they should develop a code to point out the failings of the Jedi beliefs, while also laying out a path towards what they believed was perfection. Sorza says that the Code of the Jedi confines its adherents. Peace, serenity, and harmony are restatements of the same thing, which is the passive acceptance of limitations. But the Sith are all about breaking limitations, and to invert their restricted way of thinking, Sorza Sin wrote this: "Peace is a lie. There is only passion. Through passion I gain strength. Through strength I gain power. Through power I gain victory. Through victory my chains are broken. The Force shall free me." There is also a version of this code in the language of the Sith, the Kotsis Ajak, which directly translates to the way of Sith doctrine. Nawul Tash, Owl Sat Kun, Shao Sat John Tu Chow Tasatal Tul Na Tayuk. Tuyuk John Tu Chow Ta Sat Tul Na Midwan John Tu Chow Tisat Tul Na Asha John Kutkats Winot Itso Nayak Wan Akshi Ki Yao Sik Nun. The code is simple. This is why no Sith could argue with it and attempt to change it before. This is what happens when they have a deep and an intimate understanding of what each line really means to them. Like all things in the Sith Order, the code caters towards the self and all selfish ends. It is about embracing one's emotion, using it to destroy all opposition and to gain what they desire. It's about domination over limitations, subjugation of powers, and personal liberation, all the while denouncing the ways of peace and calm thinking. So let's dive right into the depraved minds of the Sith by going line by line from their perspective. Peace is a lie, there is only passion. The line runs in direct opposition to the first line of the Jedi Code. There is no emotion, there is peace. The Jedi believe that peace is a desirable goal, that peace of the spirit and the way of the Force is mastered this way, and that a lack of conflict betters a person. The Sith think differently. They have found that it is their emotion, their passion, hatred above all, and their desire that fuels the Force within them. This is what creates that fire. Every gas-based heating system has what is called a pilot light, a small flame that remains burning in order to provide heat to the entire system. The core tenet of the Sith is this pilot light. It remains ever burning within them to provide the heat and power to their entire body. And with training, this small light will become a raging inferno. The Sith have found that it is conflict which improves civilization as a whole, and the individual being as well. Conflict is what forces an entity to better themselves. It forces change, growth, adaptation, and eventually evolution. Or it creates death, destroys if these things are not met. The the Sith have observed that these things are not their own laws, but the laws of the universe itself. When things get difficult, living things have to change to survive, or wither and die in stagnation. For the Sith, stagnation is the equivalent of death. In a way, they are simply adapting to the natural entropy of existence. At least that's what they would say. Everything moves from order to disorder. And the Sith have not only embraced this, but have seen it as a favorable thing. That makes themselves stronger and better. Peace is a lie, which means that peace equals stagnation. For if there is no conflict, there is no evolution. The next line, through passion I gain strength. With passion comes the darker, what they call stronger emotions, anger, hatred, fear. These all empower a Sith because they are tools not only for survival, but also dominion. The strong live, the weak die. Fear is the most rudimentary of all emotions that all creatures feel. It is what makes them run to survive. Anger is there to help them fight. And within the ecosystem of the Force, those who give up their baser emotions will simply perish to those who have not. It is with mastery of one's passion that the dark side makes one strong. Their goal is to become stronger and achieve their full potential rather than rest on any previous accomplishment or even state of being. The Sith believe themselves to be the seekers of truth and power rather than shepherds of the weak, challengers of the old, and static ways that keep others oppressed. Next, through strength I gain power. A Sith is defined by their pursuit of power. It is not a destination, it is a never-ceasing fight. As one grows stronger from their passion, the dark side will reward them with new power. This is the power that allows them to begin their conquest of dominion. It allows them to take what they want, destroy any in their path. But it is a constant battle. One must always fight to keep their power, otherwise it is not earned. Because again, without strife and conflict, there is no passion, no drive for advancement. Opposition provides opportunity to evolution, and when your passion has given you knowledge of survival, you are awarded with the power to overcome that opposition. Only then do you gain triumph. Through power, I gain victory. There are many different methods to gaining victory: peaceful resolution, truce, sacrifice. But the only victory that matters to the Sith is a victory that is taken. It is their belief. A victory is meaningless unless one demonstrates their power is superior. A victory without a show of real power is a temporary victory at best, as one's enemies will always return, especially if they have a hope that they can win. The goal of the Sith is to become strong enough to where all hope is crushed, and that it is destroyed. But this doesn't just extend to the physical enemies, but philosophical enemies as well. One's own limitations can be their enemy, whether that be a troubled past or emotional shortcomings. Using those memories and feelings towards strength, and then using that power to overcome those limitations, is the only way to secure a lasting victory. For Sith, compromise is weakness. It's an admittance that their power is not enough to overcome the odds that they face. Weakness is bondage, and so they must break their chains by never compromising and always achieving victory. Through victory, my chains are broken. The Force shall free me. The chains represent their restrictions, both the ones placed upon them and the ones that they place upon themselves. The ultimate goal of any Sith is to be completely free of restriction. One who has freed themselves from all limitations has reached perfection. Their potential has been fulfilled. Perfect power is perfect victory. In Sith legend, there is only one perfect being in the lore, the Sith Ari. The Sith Ari is their chosen one, the one who is said to be completely free of any restrictions. In a way, every Sith is attempting to become the Sith Ari themselves, fulfilling this single line of their code. This is where the ideals of the Jedi and the Sith codes fundamentally diverge from one another. Unlike the Jedi, whose goal it is to guide the collective, the Kot Sisajak is meant to specifically be for the individual Sith reading it. It inspires the single Sith to achieve personal perfection, to fulfill their own prophecy. This is what creates a prideful, infighting group. All of the Sith strive to make themselves the ultimate power in the universe. And if there is one ultimate power, the others are not. In the words of the Sith doctrine, the Force is our servant and our master, our teacher and our companion, a weapon and a tool. Know the Force, and you know the universe. Master the Force, and you master the universe. Strive for perfection, and the Force shall reward you. For a Sith, the Force is the avenue by which they liberate themselves from the shackles of society, government, and even death. They believe that by mastering the Force and achieving freedom, that they rise above the mundane lives of mortal beings. They themselves become immortal, earning a place of godhood in the galaxy where they are rightfully worshipped as a being of perfect power. So what at first appears to be simply an inversion of the Jedi Code is actually a complex verbal map, one that leads towards apotheosis, becoming a Force deity. This is the only reason why the Sith Code has survived untouched for 7,000 years, venturing through all the eras of Sith, with all of their different interpretations on how to gain power, but the end goal never changed. The code speaks to the individual studying it, encouraging them to take a personal journey towards ultimate power. The code promotes the idea that conflict is good because change proves opportunity for betterment. This betterment allows one to triumph in all of their goals and eventually reach freedom through these accomplishments. There is no Sith that is going to deny any part of these tenets. Almost all of them come from painful and troubling backgrounds, so it's easy for them to give up on the idea of peace and to label it a lie. The first line is the gateway, and the remaining words are a step-by-step process into becoming the Sith Ari, the Sith Chosen One. And while the final line of the Jedi Code prepares one to accept their end and to pass on through the Force, the final line of the Sith Code rejects this entirely. Its final goal is to drive the user towards eternal life. Anyway, my friends, this was a full breakdown of the hidden meaning behind the Sith Code. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want to see more just like it, then let us know in the comments down below, and other things that you would like to see analyzed in the deep Star Wars lore. And as always, tell us what you think about the Sith Code. Do you believe it was the usual bad guy drivel? Or do you believe now that there is more truth? Let us know down below. And as always, may the Force be with you, and have a great day.